Welcome back to the Dave Knows Comics live stream. I'm your host, David Lee, and we're going to be back doing something a little different today. Thought to come on to do a new kind of show, which I thought might be fun. Came up with this idea. So today is all about this game called Are They a Sidekick or Are They Not? Now, we're going to break this down momentarily. Just let's give everybody a chance to file on in and join in on the good time and have some fun. We need some people playing this game after all. Kind of the whole point here. So thank you for popping in. Oh, yep, we got some people coming in. Let's get into the chat. Yeah, welcome. Thanks for being here. Samurai Productions, how you doing? Yeah, let's get more people in here before we actually start playing the game. We'll go over the rules, but I definitely want your verdict on how you see these guys as counting. Especially because I think this is an interesting question, one we don't talk about enough. Smiley Cat, good to see you. Whoa, the Scottish nerd. We will catch up to that later on. We don't know the rules yet, but we'll be popping up the graphics temporarily. And it's not just Nightwing. We got plenty to go. Plenty of characters that we're going to be discussing. Hey, Ben Espinoza, Harry Flynn, how you doing? Yeah, let's just get a couple more people in the chat before we start going over the rules and we start playing the game. Alright, so let's see, we got a few more guys up in here, and gals up in here. So, alright, welcome. Alright, so here's how the game is going to work. And also, by the way, glad that your notifications are working, and if you could give me a big thumbs up, as well as subscribing and making sure that your notifications are on, we will be having a good time. Okay, let's go over the rules, since, I think we've given enough time for everybody to come in, so come on in, more people, come on in. Alright, so, yeah, this isn't, okay, Albert Henry's is my sidekick. Well, thank you, and, if you want him, he's on loan, because, I don't really need him. Okay, so here are the rules. I'm going to be presenting different characters, and we're going to get the vote by you guys out in the chat, whether or not they count as a sidekick or not. Now, there's two categories. All we're looking at sidekick or not sidekick. If they're not a sidekick, you know, whether you consider them a partner, whether you consider them an ally, whether you consider to be their own thing, whatever it is, that's on you. But it's sidekick or not sidekick, let me know and give me your reasons why you feel that each of these characters is either a sidekick or not, okay? So that's what we're going to do. So we might as well start. I think it's a little interesting that I think that one guy just came in just to say his thoughts on Nightwing and left. But anyway, speaking of which, might as well go for the first one. Nightwing. Oh, gotta move out of the way. So Nightwing, yes, we have Nightwing. We might as well start off with the obvious one, the guy on the thumbnail, Nightwing. Now this is specifically Nightwing, not Robin. We're looking at Dick Grayson Nightwing here. Do you consider him a sidekick? Oh, he's still here. Good. Okay, good. So we know your verdict, but give me your justification. So, and if he's not a sidekick, what do you count him as? So I know you gave a great explanation. Early up, you said that Nightwing is not a sidekick. He became his own hero. Okay, so do you consider him a partner of Batman? Do you consider him just a friend? You say he's just a friend. Like, what is your definition, and why? And I like what you have to say, but no, don't want to take the vote. Everybody else gets a chance. So yeah, everybody else. Nightwing, sidekick, not sidekick. What do you guys say? What you guys say indeed. Let's see what the chat has. So we want one vote for not sidekick. Who else is there? Come on, Harry Flynn. Somebody. Anybody. Ben Espinoza. Somebody else. Somebody else make a vote. Not a sidekick. He is his own hero, says Harry Flynn. Very good. Very good. Okay, so that's 2 votes. Let's see. Ben? Anybody else? Samurai Productions? Anybody else want to make a voting on the Nightwing? Okay, so the Scottish nerd says he has a partner who is separate but still shows up to help his Batman. Okay, all right. His Batman. Okay, Samurai Production says, I see him as a partner or not psychic. Ah, very good. He made his own path and walked himself, not a psychic. Interesting thing is, Nightwing, well, I do think, like, when I think of Robin, the first definitive one I think of, and by the way, thank you guys for all catching this, that I wasn't talking about Robin, I was talking about specific Nightwing. I like that you guys all caught it. I didn't have to reiterate it. But an interesting thing for me is, when I think of Robin, of course I think of Dick Grayson first. However, Dick Grayson was never Robin in my lifetime. You know, since I've been born, he's always been Nightwing, which I think is weird. And like one of the first superhero action figures I ever got was actually a Dick Grayson Robin toy. So I think it's weird that I still think of that, even though throughout my entire life, never been. Okay, so all right, so the official verdict for Nightwing, Dick Grayson is not a sidekick. All right, you guys see him as, and yeah, so you guys tend to see him as more of a partner, and I gotta admit, I do agree. I do think he's more on the not sidekick side of the line. I do think I do view him as a partner. If anything, I almost view him as more of an occasional guest star because he doesn't show up as often as I actually would like. I actually wouldn't mind it if he was more of a partner of Batman. But yeah, there was a period of time where Robin, Dick Grayson character was more like a son to Bruce Wayne, and then he became just like a younger brother. So, which could still be a sidekick, but I definitely view him as more of a partner. Okay, so that is the final verdict for Nightwing. Let's move on to the next character. We have Jubilee from the X-Men fame. Now, this is an interesting one. Dale came in with not psychic, so okay, votes for not psychic. Okay, next character is up for grabs. We have Jubilation Lee. Now, this is an interesting one. You'll notice that all the characters I'm picking, they fulfill different categories, and there are different reasons why they may or may not fit into where you belong, or where you think they belong, or why they're up for grabs on this one. So, Jubilee is an interesting one, because she does do work with Wolverine a lot. Just the two of them, but also she's also a junior, or she was a junior member of the X-Men, so she's part of a team. So where do junior members of a team fit in? So we have Jubilee. What are your verdicts on Jubilee? Samurai Productions and Dale, I don't know if that's your vote for Jubilee or Nightwing. I've been hopping back and forth when I'm queuing the graphics up, so now specify it for me just a second. Okay, so Harry says sidekick. She isn't. Speaking like Yoda. She isn't. Oh, sidekick. She isn't a big enough hero. Okay, so, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. All right, so Harry, I said that all Yoda like. So Harry says not. She is a sidekick. Okay, so that's what Harry says. EJK, welcome. Oh, and EJK, if you want to give your vote on Dick Grayson Nightwing too, I would love to hear that. EJK says I think she is a sidekick to Wolverine at least in terms of the X-Men. No, because she isn't part of the team. Okay, and we can also talk about when she was part of the team too. Don't think we're restricted to just her being on or off the squad. About like the X-Men cartoon days, when she was there. Did you feel that she was a sidekick to the team? Is a junior member of a team a sidekick? Because also remember, if you do feel that a junior member of of a team does count, then this will probably open up the floodgates to a lot of other characters, which I'm not I've included today, but like Kitty Pryde and Beast Boy for Doom Patrol. They might count as sidekicks too, so also thinking about that. So I like that you specified that you view her as a sidekick for Wolverine, but not so much for the X-Men. I think that's pretty interesting. All right, the Scottish Nerd says, I would say not a sidekick, because I'm not really sure there are sidekicks on teams, if that makes sense. I think that does make sense. That's another interesting counterpoint, having a team sidekick. I chose some interesting ones. There are some interesting food for thought ones here. I try to give everybody a different reasoning why they may or may not qualify. I try not to be too redundant. So, for example, you saw Nightwing, a grown-up sidekick. Don't expect to see Red Arrow or Arsenal, whichever, on this, because that's like the same exact category. So I feel like whatever your verdict is for Nightwing, you probably have the same exact verdict for Arsenal. I assume, maybe not, but still, so I try to make them different for the most part. There's some redundancy, but for the most part I try to space them out. Alright, so let's catch up with the chat. Smiley Cat says Jubilee was initially a sidekick before she grew up. Now she's her own hero. Okay, just like Nightwing, you view her as a former sidekick, now grown up into her own. Very cool. Alright, you guys have all very different answers here, which I like. So far, sidekick for, so Dale and Samurai, Samurai Productions. Dale, give me your voting for Jubilee. Let me know if this is for Jubilee. Okay, so EJK says sidekick. Harry Flynn says sidekick. The Scottish Nerd says not a sidekick. And so does Smiley Cat. So the vote's 2-2 right now. Samurai Productions says sidekick because she's still a junior and has ways to go before being a full-time partner. Okay, so 3 votes for sidekick, 2 for not sidekick. And as for EJK does life, and no fancy introduction today. It says that Richard became his own man because he stopped wearing that green Speedo. and the Tinkerbell shoes. Well, the less said, the less worn the Tinkerbell shoes, I have to admit, is a plus. Okay, so far we got 3-2. Where are we at, EJ? Oh wait, no, you already gave your vote. Dale, yeah, where you at, Dale? Dale, you still here? I wish you told me who was here and who was not. All right, give Dale another minute for his voting on Jubilee. If he does not come in for it, then I'm just going to have to go ahead and rule this a sidekick, unless anybody else want to give a vote. I'm just going to give you a couple more seconds before I finally call down the hammer and move on to the next character. So let's just see who speaks next. Dale, hopefully you're still here. If you have to bow out, I understand. Yeah. Okay, so anybody? Any takers? No? Alright, I think we're going to have to make this the call. And sidekick. Jubilee, sidekick. Okay, the Scottish nerd says, in your opinion, who should take the mantle of Batman when Bruce Wayne leaves? To me, it is weird because he is his own character, and I do like him for what he is, but I do feel that nobody has a claim to that mantle other than Dick Grayson. Like, if this was real life, who would deserve it more? Who's got their name on it? Even if they don't want the mantle, even if they want to do their own thing, which I understand, it's like it's supposed to be Dick Grayson. Is kind of how I view it. Like it should be that way. There's nobody else who could. Like, there really isn't anybody else. Nobody's more qualified. You can make the argument for, Tim Drake or even Damian, but Damian's too young. But also, I don't think Damian is the proper Batman anyhow. Like, there's not. I think that Grayson is the most deserving, but beyond that, I don't think anyone else could. Like, anyone else could do as good of a job as Dick Grayson, but that's just my opinion. By the way, how do you guys feel about the name Rick Grayson, the change? I personally like it. I haven't started using it, but I think it's a necessary change. Just like Beast Boy's real name should definitely change. Anyway, so Jubilee, verdict is sidekick. Let's move on to the next character. This is going to be another interesting one. Pow! Krypto the Superdog. Where do we see Krypto the Superdog? You hate Rick. Okay, yeah, you hate Rick. I understand a lot of people don't like it, but it's just, in today's day and age, you can't get away with saying that. It's just so weird. I mean, I know I still do, but still. Okay, Scottish nerd hates Rick Grayson. Okay, whoa. EJK pulls back. Richard became his own man once he stopped. Oh, yeah, right. Sorry, I read that already. Okay, so Samurai Production says, Krypto the Superdog. Is he a psychic? Or is he not? How do you view Krypto the Superdog? I know, tough one, right? Tough one. Okay, so Scottish Nerd says you would say, and by the way, nice to meet you, the Scottish Nerd. Glad that you were here. Nice to see you, should I say. I would say that Krypto is a psychic because pets are different. Wait, I assume you said not. Okay, so Scottish Nerd says not a psychic for Krypto. So that's one for not a psychic. Smiley Cat, Krypto is definitely a psychic. If not a psychic, then a pet. Well, okay, definitely a psychic. Smiley Cat, interesting. Cat making a vote on a dog. So 1-1, psychic, not psychic. Okay, so 1-1. It's not psychic, psychic. All right, who else is next? You ever notice when you say sidekick, sometimes it sounds like you're saying psychic? I have to say sidekick. I picture him too much with Superman. That makes sense. Okay, yeah, I actually like that. So it's how much do you picture this character with someone else, with the main hero? If you primarily think of them on their own, maybe that separates it. But if you can only imagine them or primarily imagine them with the main superhero, maybe that is where they qualify. So I actually think that's pretty good. Ooh, Harry Flynn says not a sidekick. Now, as you can see, this is a different one. As Smiley Cat pointed out, do pets count as sidekicks? Where do we stand on this one? So it's what would be weird? I just realized, what if Spider-Man had a pet spider? Like, wouldn't that be silly? Yeah, 2-2, because like Spider-Man definitely doesn't have the relationship to spiders that Ant-Man does with like ants. Okay, so EJK, so we're tied up. EJK says, I guess he's a pet. I'll say he's not a sidekick. Okay, so 3 not psychic, 2 psychic. I think pets are different from sidekicks. I feel that sidekicks are superheroes in training to me, where Krypto isn't in training. He's just a doggo. Ah, doggo. I like the terminology of doggo. My opinion, pets are not sidekicks. Okay, so 3-2. Ah, Dale's back, and yes, this is for her sidekick. Oh, so Jubilee's definitely a sidekick. Okay, so Dale, catch him on up. We're a Krypto the Superdog. Where do you fit on Krypto the Superdog? Okay, so far it's 3 for not a sidekick and 2 for sidekick. So yeah, I'm very curious to know. I'll give a little bit more time on Krypto the Superdog. Yeah, so 3-2. These are tight races. These are definitely tight. Very close calls. Okay, so yeah, so as we can see, the debate whether or not a pet counts as a sidekick or not. So it is an interesting one. Some people say yeah, some people say no. And hey, oh, and for Jubilee, my vote, in case I wasn't clear on this, I do agree that for Wolverine, yeah, she was a sidekick. Like, she was one of many, like, young female superheroes that were Wolverine sidekicks. Kitty Pryde, in the movies Rogue, Jubilee, like, Wolverine just has always had that, sometimes Hope Summer, very briefly Hope Summers, but also X-23. Like, Wolverine has always had that. That's cool, buddy. You know, just chime in when you can. Deal. But Wolverine's always had, like, young female sidekicks. It's always been his thing. 200 years old, and yet he sports around these, like, young teenage girls as his sidekicks. So I do feel that Jubilee does count for Wolverine in terms of the team. Yeah, I feel the exact same way as you mentioned earlier. That for a team, it's where you don't really, junior members aren't really sidekicks of a team. It's like, I get the mentality here. It's like, are the New Mutants sidekicks of the X-Men, or is Young Justice or the Teen Titans a sidekick of the Justice League? It's like, you can make the case for it, and I'm not completely opposed to it, but just I don't feel that they are. So I actually agree with that verdict. I'll say, okay, so we're on Krypto the Superdog. So far, 3 people saying not sidekick, 2 people saying yes, sidekick. And now, because we're on the pets, and as I said, I'm trying to be different with my mentality here, I'm going to be flat out and honest with this. I was really torn between whether or not I want to pick Krypto or Ace the Bat Hound. Would this have changed your verdict anymore if I picked Ace the Bat Hound instead? Alright, okay, roses are red. I like comics too. My first Justice League had 2 twins, and their monkey was... Got me, I like that one. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. So far, the verdict goes, if nobody's had anything else to say, verdict goes to... not sidekick. Pets apparently are different. I'm torn on this one. This is actually the hardest one for me, whether or not I count dogs or pets as sidekicks. Especially weird side story for me. Back when I was a reporter, I was covering. I couldn't believe I was doing this. I was covering a retirement for a police. I was covering. They had a ceremony for a retiring police officer. This was back before right now, where police weren't the issue that they weren't talked about in the way they are now, shall I say. But anyway, there was a retirement ceremony for a police officer they were doing for the city, in like town hall. I was covering it. I didn't know anything about it, and then when I got there, I noticed the way they were talking about the officer, and I was like, what? And like, I forgot the name, but it was like one name, and it was like Kirby or something. I don't remember the name, but it was something like that. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, why do they keep just calling him like Kirby? I was like, that's weird. And then they revealed there was a dog. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm covering a dog retirement? So I'm going to go ahead and just, I'm with you guys, not sidekick, pretty much because if I don't count a police dog as an officer, as a police officer, I'm not going to count a dog as a sidekick. He's not his own hero or nothing, but he's definitely not a sidekick because he's not a person. Hold on, I'm just plugging Peter in. So, not sidekick for Krypto the Superdog. Alright, next up for Bat, we're staying with Superman because here's another interesting one. Lois Lane. Where do we feel on Lois Lane? Okay, so the Scottish nerd says also FTI. I don't know what FTI means. Okay, so here we go. Lois Lane. Where do we count Lois? Lois Lane, what's the verdict? What's the verdict? Sidekick. Well, is that sidekick or not, Harry? Skirting the definition board. Not sure what you mean by that. So here's another one. Love interest, not sidekick. Okay, so 1 vote for not sidekick. Yeah, love interest. Is that the same? Is that different? But before we go out with the verdict 100%, let me just throw this out there. it's not that she's just a love interest. She's not just his Superman's arm candy. She does help him with investigations a lot, especially in a more modern era. She's been less of a damsel in distress and all. And she has been more helpful in terms of research and things like that. She has been more. She has done more assistance work. I don't consider her own character by any stretch of the imagination, although she has had her own title. I look at her more, I'm talking about more in a modern context where she does research and does a lot of things Superman can't do. Okay, so Harry says sidekick, so 1-to-1. So, try not to think of her in this particular context as just being the damsel in distress that Lex Luthor kidnaps all the time. Think about her more in a modern day where she has been shown as to be more involved. To being more involved with Superman and actually helping him in cases. So that's what that's why I'm asking. Normally I agree with you, Smiley Cat, that like love interests are completely separate. So like I wouldn't count I'm trying to think of like a complete somebody like she's kind of helped too, but like I'm not counting Mary Jane. Like Mary Jane is definitely not a sidekick. Mary Jane has helped Spider-Man in the past, but she's not a sidekick. Where Lois has had to have a way more active role. Again, as of late, so there's a reason I specifically chose Lois and not like Gwen Stacy. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about like Spider-Woman Gwen Stacy. I mean straight up. Not Spider-Gwen. I'm talking about like straight up Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy, those characters. So that's why I picked Lois, just because Lois has done a lot. Okay, so we got okay, so love interest, not a sidekick. So not a sidekick, 1 vote. Harry Flynn says yes. EJK Does Life says, I would have gone away with it too if it wasn't for your crime-fighting, drug-sniffing dog. Yes. You're on fire today, buddy. EJK. The Scottish nerd says Lois is a love interest, not a sidekick. Jimmy Olsen could be. I did consider Jimmy Olsen. Spoiler warning, he's not here. Okay, so 2 votes for not sidekick, 1 vote for sidekick. EJK Does Life says Lois is not a sidekick. I think she does her own thing, but she uses the information she gets to help Superman, kind of like Oracle and Batman. Oh, so not a sidekick. That's 3 votes. 3 votes for not a sidekick. Samurai Production says, yeah, then sidekick because she's very useful when needed, but doesn't stand out as much without Superman beside her. Ah, so that's 2. Okay, so 2 sidekicks, 3 not sidekicks. Let's say it's about levels, and being a love interest is higher than a sidekick. That makes sense. Okay, so Samurai Productions raises a fair point that despite her work, she's still her ranking, her one of her jobs is love interest. That takes precedent over her sidekick work. So that's why ultimately, if you have to pick, he's choosing not sidekick. That's not a bad point. I do like that. Dale says Superman pet dog, it like Batman's dog. It's yes. Do you have a preference, sidekick or not sidekick? I hear your point. And Dale, your phone actually explains how come I haven't seen you in the wrestling live stream in a while. Yeah, I was wondering where you've been at. Okay, so that's 3-2. Again, another tight race. Plus, I don't think you can be a sidekick when you have your own sidekick because Lois has Jimmy Olsen. That's another good point. Can a sidekick have another sidekick? They're not on this list, but like Darcy in Thor. It got her in turn. Don't ask why I just did. Yeah, I know. Like, I'm probably the only person to make that equation, but whatever, because nobody talks about Thor: The Dark World unless it's negative. Okay, so all right, I'm gonna go ahead and call it. Just give everybody an extra second, but I'm gonna go ahead and call it. If nobody has any objections, I'm going to make the official ruling. Not sidekick for Lois Lane. Love interest, not sidekick. I will admit I was more leaning on the sidekick role for her, but you guys kind of convinced me. I was more on that before this all started, especially thinking about like Man of Steel, the movie. I didn't particularly care for it, but still. As I said, she is definitely way more. Way more interactive with the whole plot and everything she can do. She's a much bigger part of the storyline. So it made me wonder. It's like, does she count now? Like, did she upgrade herself to sidekick? But I hear your guys' points. Particularly the idea that a love interest, that she's still primarily known as a love interest, and that trumps her sidekickedness. So I will go ahead and agree with that. Okay, so not sidekick for Lois Lane. All right, let's move on to the next one. This is a fun one. Casey Jones from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Joe from Inhumans. Well, Dale, Harry knows that he can tell Rena all about Lockjaw, right? But yeah, Lockjaw, I didn't think about putting Lockjaw on here, but good note. If this works, if you guys like this, we might even do a round 2. Anyway, EJK says, plus, I don't think you can be a sidekick when you have your own. Oh wait, sorry, read that already. Samurai Production says, ooh, this maybe it's awesome. It is, isn't it? So while we said a team can't have a team member being a sidekick, so you guys said Jubilee can't be the X-Men sidekick because she's a junior member or not even a member or just a regular member. Either way, not sidekick. Casey Jones isn't really on the team, so he's not one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So now we go back to the question, but with a different format. Can a team have a sidekick? Is Casey Jones the sidekick of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Okay, Casey Jones is a partner because he's and the other thing is a partner, interesting choice because he doesn't get along with them super well. Sometimes he does, sometimes he's more of a loose cannon. So then also the camaraderie there is also a weird mix. That's why I specifically have Casey Jones here. So yeah, this is a hard one because he's a weird character to classify. I love Casey Jones, by the way. I think he's awesome, but I just think and there are different interpretations. Like he was pretty much Dirty Harry in the original cartoon. Like in case you didn't notice, he was just straight up Dirty Harry. But then in the TMT CGI movie, which I actually liked, he was definitely more of a partner. He was less combative. He was more a part of the team. He was more easygoing. But in the comic books, he was a complete nutcase in the comic books. Like he was very different. Like the movie actually was a little closer to what Casey Jones was. Now I really want to watch this movie. Anyway, but yeah, can't vote on this one. Yes, you can. You can vote. You never watched TMNT or got into the fandom. Either way, okay. Well, if Smiley Cat is pulling himself out of the turn around. Okay, so anyway, let's start reading. Sidekick for Casey Jones. So Harry Flynn goes with sidekick. Casey is a partner, says the Scottish nerd, not a sidekick because he is equal to Teenage Turtles, and I think his sidekicks are always lower. I hear your reasoning behind it. I wouldn't say he's equal, though. I think that seems weird. Because, I feel like on a straight-up one-on-one fight, any of the Turtles is beating Casey Jones. I could be wrong about that, but that's how I feel. And I would love to see Casey Jones' Sportsmaster throw down Battle of the Hockey Mask. So 1-1. No vote from Smiley Cat on this one. Samurai Production says, you go with sidekick. You go with not sidekick because he did have his own feud with the Purple Dragons and has moments where he can hold his own by himself. Okay, all right. So his solo career, you think is prosperous enough to disqualify him from the sidekick world? Okay, so that's one sidekick, 2 notes, not sidekicks. One neutral vote, and we have, I would say, Casey is to the Teenage Turtles, what Jason Todd is the Batman. I assume you mean currently, but okay, I hear you on that one. Okay, EJK does life. Mixed the vote, says this is hard. He's going to say not sidekick. I guess he helps the Turtles out instead of actually being their sidekick. I think he teams up with Ralph instead of learning how to fight crime from him. Okay, so not sidekick. That's a vote. Okay, it seems like we got mostly a vote for not sidekick here. And I gotta say, personally, I agree the same way. I don't view Casey as sidekick. I would say though, I'm not opposed to the idea of a team having a sidekick because I think they can. But Casey Jones, I thought made this harder because he's such a loose cannon. If he got along with them better, and well, sometimes he does, but if you in the TMNT CGI movie in 2007, he definitely was a sidekick. He was like April's sidekick. Like he was just a background character. If he was more like part of the team, like I'll help out, I'll do whatever, which sometimes he is portrayed like, the calm down Casey Jones, I would totally count him as a sidekick. But the only reason I'm disqualifying him here is because while I do think a team can have a sidekick, it's just his combative nature that is actually my favorite way that he's interpreted, is what disqualifies him here. Okay, so, alright, so, So we got a vote of 3-1 and for Casey Jones, and we are going to vote with not Sidekick. Casey Jones, not officially a sidekick for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And by the way, great reminder, if you're missing out on the chat, this is all the more reason why you should make sure that you are subscribed and that your notifications are indeed on and working. Now, that way, when one of these videos comes on, you can be part of the conversation. And if you weren't here live, so make sure you get that going, subscribe, and set the notifications, but also give your votes down in the comment section. Would really like to hear them, even if you couldn't be here live. Although being here live is way more fun. Okay, so Casey Jones, not a sidekick. Let's move on to the next one. This is going to be another one. Groot. I am Groot. Is he a sidekick? Now, this is kind of a different perspective. And before you cast your vote, I do want to point out one thing. While, yes, he is a member of a team, this is looking, let's talk about the team, but let's also talk about with Rocket Raccoon. Is he a sidekick to Rocket Raccoon? Is he a sidekick to the team? But also, I want to introduce the other part of it, the idea, the concept of being the muscle, being the enforcer. Is that something that you can be? And if you are the muscle or the enforcer, does that disqualify you from being a sidekick? Can you be a sidekick if you were the muscle, if you're the bodyguard? So, yeah, hello, AJ Envoy. Good to see you, good to see you, good to see you. So now, with that being said, Groot, sidekick, not sidekick. Considering all the factors I laid out there, team member, his relationship to Rocket, and is he the muscle? And is muscle considered sidekick? Okay, so the Scottish Nerd says, I would say he is not a sidekick. One vote for not a sidekick, my opinion is that him and Rocket are partners. Okay, you view them as a partnership. Hey there, so AJ Envoy, yeah, thank you for being here. We got a bunch done, and if you want to give your verdict on the previous 5, the first 5, we will definitely be happy to catch up with this. The previous 5, while you guys are thinking about this and casting your votes for Groot, I'll just catch AJ Envoy up. First we started with Nightwing, then we went to Jubilee, and then we went to Krypto the Superdog, followed by Lois Lane, followed by Casey Jones. So some of the ideas and concepts we discussed so far is, if you were a sidekick, can you grow out of it? Can a team have a sidekick? Do junior members of teams count as sidekicks? Can love interests be sidekicks? Keep in mind that Lois has done side work, as also... and on top of that, do pets count as sidekicks? So if you want to give your thoughts, go ahead. Smiley Cat, back on since we moved past Ninja Turtles. Good to see you back. I don't know how I lost count because I have one. Okay, not sidekick, says Scottish Nerd. All right, Smiley Cat says Groot is Rocket's partner and equal. So that's 2, maybe more powerful than Rocket overall, despite lacking communication partner. Okay, so that's 2 for not sidekicks. Yes, he's stronger, more powerful. I mean, yeah, I think he has more powers too. But again, muscle. Can you be muscle and sidekick? Can you be enforcer and enforcer's sidekicks? Okay, so Harry Flynn says not sidekick. EJK says you're going to say yes. I think it totally depends on Rocket and the team. He is a muscle, that's true, but in the Green Hornet TV show, Bruce Lee was the muscle, and he was still a sidekick. Ooh, I like that mentality. Okay, so 1 vote for sidekick, 3 to not sidekick. Let's see what else we got going on here. Samurai Verdugton says, I would say sidekick because I looked up the definition and says that sidekicks have less authority, which is similar to how Groot is. So that's 2 for sidekicks, 3 for not sidekicks. EJK, I actually really do like that you brought up the Green Hornet. He's not on the Kato's not on the list. I thought about him. I really thought about introducing Kato here too, but I thought he occupied similar territory as some of the other characters, as you have already pointed out. So I figured he was a little too redundant, so I moved him out. As they say, I'm saying sidekicks. I just mentioned earlier how it sounds like you're saying sidekicks sometimes, but sidekicks. It's my lazy speech patterns. Okay, so 3 votes for not sidekick, 2 votes for sidekick. Let's see what else your votes are. AJ, did you lay down? Did you lay down a vote yet? Yeah, that is a very good point, EJK. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, AJ, you want to lay down a vote? Yeah. Yeah, personally, I just thought of this game like when I put it out on the Twitter machine. That's when I thought to do this. I was making these clever, fancy graphics that you see, and probably shouldn't have taken me as long as they did, but here we were. So, but anyway, that's what I was doing before it came on. But and also thinking of who I want to pick. But yeah, I thought this would be a fun game to play. So just thought of it and figured, come on. All right, not sure if you want to lay a vote down or not, but so far we're going 3 not sidekick and then 2 for sidekick. So I might have to make the call around. I'm going to give it another couple of seconds, but I'm going to have to make the vote official unless we get another vote in here. So come on, guys, definitely word your opinion. Love the thoughts, love the concepts coming out. Very, very, very smart and insightful. Okay, all right, I'm going to have to make the vote official. Groot. I am Groot, and I am not a sidekick. Okay, so now for my own personal opinion, I should go the other way on this. I actually do think Groot is a sidekick, and I do think the concept of being the muscle, the bodyguard, the enforcer, I think that does make you a sidekick. I think by definition, because you were there to be hero support, you're there to enforce other people. Because Groot is the guy they go to. Well, I mean, not when he became Baby Groot and all that, but when Groot in full grown-up form is the guy that it's like, all right, stuff's hitting the fan. We can't necessarily count on Drax, or he's busy being Drax or whatever. We need to go with muscle. Send in the Groot. Like, that's the way it goes. And it's different from the Hulk, who's so muscular and so his own character. Groot does occupy as nothing else than hero support for me. So I looked at him as a sidekick. In case you're wondering, yeah, I kind of think of Arn Anderson as Ric Flair's sidekick too. And I was really struggling trying to figure out who I wanted to pick as like the muscle of this, specifically for this category, because I was thinking of like Mercy for Lex Luthor, but I'm like, no, she's definitely a sidekick. And then, or Hulk, definitely not a sidekick. I was trying to rack in my brain, and then I came up, I was like, Groot. Groot's the perfect answer. I was like, Groot for Rocket Raccoon. For the team, no, I won't say he's a sidekick, but for Rocket Raccoon, he's definitely Rocket's sidekick. They're partners, but yeah, it's like one and one's the brain, one's the brawn. It's a classic dynamic, but for me, Groot is totally a sidekick, and his lack of linguistics also mean he's not like going to. It's much harder for them to tell story arcs with him and stuff like that. They have, but easily a sidekick for me is Groot. And Groot. Okay, next up, this was actually mentioned earlier, so you guys kind of caught on. So some of you guys might have already made up your mind on this one, but Oracle. Where do we stand on Oracle, Barbara Gordon? Now, we're not talking about Batgirl. We're not talking about Barbara Gordon as anything other than Oracle. Is Groot a sidekick? I would say no. Okay, so EJK, I'm totally reading wrong. AJ on Point says no, not a sidekick. Okay, so you guys definitely voted no for Groot, but yeah, in my opinion, yeah, I would totally say that. Wouldn't you say Drax is the enforcer though, Dave? No, because I think Groot can whoop Drax. So I think Groot is stronger than Drax, personally. I know it doesn't count, and there was no enchantment on it, but let's remember, Team Groot picked up Stormbreaker. Yeah, and it's not to say Drax can't. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, Drax is muscle. But also, by the way, strange thing that I don't think a lot of people know, but did you know that Drax in the comic books is actually a regular Earthbound human? The movies changed him to being an alien, but in the comic books, he's actually a regular Earthbound human. EJK says, why, thank you. I have a better relationship with comics/movies than I do with wrestling. No kidding! Who knew? Well, I apologize for not being on here more. So Harry Flint's a sidekick. Yeah, so the guy, or in this case girl, in the chair. Guy or girl in the chair, do they count as sidekick? Yeah, let's talk about the current one. So Oracle. Guy or girl in the chair, do they count as a sidekick? Yes or no? But Drax is a former pro wrestler. Yeah, but I think a crazy mutant tree is still stronger than a pro wrestler. Hey, do you remember the time on this channel I drew Drax as Batista? I drew Batista Drax live? That was fun. Barbara is not a sidekick, says the Scottish nerd, because she helps a lot of different heroes, and I would say a sidekick mostly has to go on one hero. Oh, that's an interesting point. Okay, I didn't think about that. So yeah, if you're the person in the chair, but you help multiple multiple heroes. Can you really be a sidekick? Can you moonlight as a sidekick, or do you have superhero loyalty? Is that one of those things? Or you're not allowed to step out on your superhero if you're a sidekick? Is that the rule? Okay, so Samurai Production says, "Oh, sidekick, no question." For me, she does all the info for Batman and gives him the ideas, but doesn't actually do anything herself that is major. Okay, so 2 votes for sidekick, 1 vote for not sidekick. So Henry Flynn to Samurai Productions, Scottish Nerd, EJK Does Life says, like I said, Oracle is not a sidekick. That's right. I feel like she's her own hero that helps Batman, Robin, and the Birds of Prey, like Lois Lane. Yes, you did say that earlier, so now we got 2 votes to 2. Whoa, Smiley Cat! Wait, what's your vote? Wait, East Coast Dinner Time? Yeah, well, I'm on the East Coast too, but Smiley Cat, what's your vote? Give a vote real quick, somebody! We got a tie going on. Okay, AJ Envoy says, I pray one day Dave wears his comic book shirt on a wrestling channel. It wouldn't make sense. And besides, I gotta give people some reason to come over to this channel, right? Alright, so yeah, make a vote. We're tied 2-2. Okay, somebody make a vote real quick. AJ, Smiley Cat, Dale, anybody, where are you at? Somebody make a vote. Ben? Where's Ben? Does anyone notice Ben's gone? Yeah, Ben dipped pretty early, but yeah, hurry, yeah. Somebody make a vote. Next vote, break the tie. Somebody break the tie. Because I'm going to call it, I think I'm going to call it for whoever votes next. If not, I'm just going to have to do the tiebreaker vote. Yeah, Oracle, sidekick, not sidekick. The person in the chair, sidekick, not sidekick. Dave, quick mention. Oh, Ben's back. Okay. No, he almost got me. Some erections. Someone vote. Someone make the vote. Or, guys, if you've already voted, just make your cases stronger. Just try and sway the vote. I really wish Smiley Cat made the vote before he left. Make a vote, please. Yeah, somebody, please make the vote. Rock the vote. It's important here. Okay, so let's give a little more food for thought here to make this a little more complicated. I chose Oracle specifically because of her status and I think she is harder because of her prior status as Batgirl, and then now her current status again as Batgirl. But a lot of people did view that Oracle was like her own character, and it grew into something else. We used Scotland to have 2 votes. Not today, buddy. But I like the attempt, though. AJ Voice is not a sidekick for Oracle. Okay, so I picked Oracle because of her so official vote is not a sidekick for Oracle. I picked her because of her prior history as Batgirl, as I said, but also people viewed she grew on her own. But then I looked at other characters, that person in the chair, most notably from Spider-Man Homecoming, the character of Ned. He always wanted to be the guy in the chair. I was like, where does he count as the guy in the chair? I was like, but if I made Ned, how do you not say sidekick? Because Ned definitely is. I also thought about Alfred, who has sometimes served as the person in a chair. So, and I thought he kind of lends too much, but I thought the person who's most on the border or the hardest one to decide would be Oracle. So you guys said not sidekick for Oracle. Truth be told, I actually do think she is. I think this is the closest she's ever been to not, because I think Batgirl definitely is a sidekick. But Oracle, I'm actually going the other way with it. I actually vote for Oracle. I say she is a sidekick because I think the concept of person in the chair, as I said, for Ned or even Alfred, when you're the person in the chair, you're totally a sidekick. Your hero support. That's your role. I feel this here a sidekick, but I did love the point that she does not have superhero monogamy. So she is the person in chair for other heroes as well. She's even served for not just the Birds of Prey, but also on occasion she's helped out the Justice League. But that really almost swayed my vote. But I'm gonna say personally, I say she's a sidekick. But thanks to your votings, she has been not a sidekick as deemed by the Know-It-All Nation. Okay, so very good. Loving this. It's a lot of fun. We just got a couple more left. Next up, now this is going to be another weird one. Stick from Matt Murdock's fame. Now, before you go out and give your vote, just remember, yeah, he was a mentor, but can a mentor eventually turn into a sidekick, or do they always stay a mentor? Without a shadow of a doubt, taught Matt Murdock everything he knows, primarily. But then, later on, especially as you saw in the Netflix series, he's there to help Maddie out, but he does a lot of background work. He may not necessarily always take orders from him, but he's definitely his backup. He's definitely his support system. So where do we fit? Can a mentor degrade into becoming a sidekick? And I know some people may scoff, how dare you say degrade, like sidekick is less than a mentor. Well, I say it is. And I say if you feel offended by that, then you gotta loosen up a little bit. It's not that big a deal. These are fictional characters. Might even Selena. I thought about Selena Catwoman. I did think about her. I didn't put her on here today. Again, spoiler warning. But I did consider her. But I thought she occupied a little too much of that. Well, again, maybe just another episode. Maybe we'll have to do another episode on this. Okay, so the Scottish Nightmare would say that Stick is a mentor, and mentors don't become sidekicks, in your opinion. Okay, so one vote for no. AJ Envoy says, damn, I don't even know who this guy is. Not a Daredevil fan, AJ Envoy. Did you see the Netflix series or any Daredevil properties? It's back when Matt Murdock was young and first lost his sight. He became he found a mentor and a character named Stick, which is this guy. And so in the beginning, he taught Daredevil everything he knew. He taught Matt Murdock how to use his senses, how to fight, and all that stuff. But as he got older and Matt Murdock came onto his own, Stick became more of a background character. He didn't teach him it. He it was the mentor, but he kind of fell by the wayside. If Double was here, I could also bring up Sensei Kreese and how he became Johnny's backup. But anyway, he does serve as way more of a backup character now. He is definitely not the mentor as much. And he's older, slower, so he does serve as more that background character. So the question for this one is, can a mentor eventually age into becoming a sidekick? Can they slow down? I forgot Stick's character. Where in my Marvel Encyclopedia when I need it? How could you forget Stick, man? Stick is awesome. I actually like this character a lot. I think he's a very cool character. And in a lot of ways, in comic book logic, it only makes sense in the comic book, because if you think about it, it's like, some kid lost his vision, so he just happens to run into some dude who knows ninjutsu, and is just willing to duliously teach it to him to becoming a crime fighter. It's like, what are the odds of that? Like, I'm sure that doesn't happen all the time. Like, it's a ridiculous story. They've dressed it up and made it make a little bit more sense in the comic book sense, but still, nonetheless, it's just a very weirdly random. In the same neighborhood, two guys. Yeah, it just happens. Okay, he doesn't come across as a sidekick to me. Okay, so yeah, even if you're not familiar with the character, making the vote on just whether or not you think a mentor can age into becoming a sidekick. Okay, so one vote for no. AJ Envoy says no. Let's see what Scottish Nerd also says. Hey, I'm sorry, it's 10:30 in Scotland here, so I'm going to go to sleep. We're almost done. We got 2 more to go. We'll catch the next stream. Next votes are Sidekick is yes, 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 no, yes. We only got like 2 more to go after this. 2 more to go. My Groot Scottish Nerds mentors don't become sidekicks. Okay, so it seems like you guys have all said mentors don't become sidekicks. Okay, Harry, where are we at, buddy? Anybody else? Alright, 2 votes for no. I'm just going to give it a little bit to see if anybody get a few more votes in. Definitely catch your votes right now. Fine, I'll say what you owe me. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. We got just 2 more votes to go. I'll try to make it quick. Okay, so Not Sidekicks is Samurai Productions. We got another one for Not Sidekick. He mainly works in the shadows nowadays, but he can actually be a good threat when he makes him a lot sidekick. Okay, and did we get somebody else? Not Sidekick. Okay, so Stick, verdict is very easily Not Sidekick. Yeah, and I agree. Well, I think a mentor, in theory, could become a sidekick. This is not a case of it. Because I also thought about Splinter, and Splinter's definitely not a sidekick than Ninja Turtles. I'm not opposed to the idea of a mentor eventually getting to that point, but like the student becomes a teacher kind of thing. But in this particular case, I would say no, especially through the Netflix series, because the Netflix series, he was still a G. All right, so let's move on. Okay. Let's move on real quick. This is going to be another similarity one, but you might feel differently. You'll see why momentarily, as the next one is Whistler from Blade, and I have the picture cropped in a specific way because just a little bit beyond this frame, he's actually making a very specific gesture. Okay, so pretty much unanimous vote that Stick is not a sidekick. So I think that was the first and only unanimous vote of the episode, at least thus far. Obi-Wan was a mentor from episode 2 to 7, and I never thought he was overshadowed by anyone. To be fair, Obi-Wan is the best. Yeah. comes from the planet of Stu John, as decreed from George Lucas on the request of Jon Stewart. Anyway, so Whistler. Now, Whistler is an interesting one because did he start off as a mentor? Yeah. He's kind of him and Stick. Whistler does cover some common ground with a lot of these guys, but I chose him because I felt he was kind of a combination. But he is kind of repetitive. Is he the mentor figure? Yes, but he's also the guy in the chair. So depending on your verdict for guy in the chair and also the mentor figure, and how much did Whistler teach Blade versus how much Stick taught Matt is also there. I'm going to say no for the same reason as Stick, but I don't know my Blade. Sorry. Hey, that's okay. As I said, very, very similar to both Stick, but also Oracle as well. So, guy in the chair, depending how strong you guys feel about it. So, guy in the chair, as well as being so, like, I almost wanted to put Microchip on this level, but I feel like Microchip is obviously a sidekick. Like, there's no debate on this one. Where Whistler, because of his combination there, didn't he turn into a vampire? Sometimes. If you go by the movies, it makes less sense. It's like, I feel like they just give up on explaining why he's there. It's like, hey, Whistler's here again. Wait a minute, weren't you? No, this is sequel. Sequel rules, baby. Sequel. Yeah, but anyway, sidekick or not sidekick, where do we stand on Whistler? Whistler has been interpreted like a myriad of different ways. Even in the movies, I think even though he's played by the same actor, I feel like his characterization is very different. It's like, yeah, he just miraculously shows up again. But anyway, so yeah, where do we feel on Whistler? Combination, mentor, psych. So he's just slightly different with the guy in the chair aspect being added on or the weapons expert, the weapons guy. He's kind of like Q in a way. He's like Microchip, he's like Q, he's like Whistler, he's like Oracle, he's like Ned, a bunch of different things. Okay, so in your opinion, Harry Flynn says sidekick, and Scottish Nurse says not a sidekick. Summer Production says, in your opinion, you think that Whistler is a sidekick because at least Stick could fight, if he really wanted to, but Whistler, well, hey, whoa. Stick is also handy capable. I just want to point that out. And Whistler has taken down a few vamps, a few bloodsuckers in his day, and is still capable of giving them what for. Just want to throw that out there. But okay, so 2 votes for sidekick, 1 vote for not sidekick. Anybody else? Any partakers on this one? Anybody else? So, if you didn't believe me, so the way this is going, if you didn't believe me before in the concept of a mentor becoming a sidekick, well, it looks like I decided to prove you wrong on this one. Just a couple more seconds, because I appreciate the Scottish Nerd staying up for me. I'm gonna keep on and make it a little earlier. I can understand. Sorry. Hey, nothing to be sorry about, buddy. What are you being sorry for? But yeah, so all right. 2 votes for sidekick, 1 vote for not sidekick. I'm gonna go ahead and call the vote now for sidekick. Whistler is a sidekick because we're trying to move on. So one last one, Scottish Nerd, we're gonna give you your vote. Just cast your vote and then we'll be able to move on. Or if you want to stick around to the end, but we got one more. So sidekick, and I want to agree that I do view Whistler as Blade's sidekick. And I bet you guys didn't even think about Whistler because whoever remembers Whistler, I do that too. So anyway, sidekick Whistler. Next up is, and the last one, pow, Heroes for Hire. Interesting. Now, you could view this collectively, or 2 of them the sidekicks of the Defenders, but more importantly, I want to ask, Luke Cage, Danny Rand, Iron Fist, Power Man, or is Luke Cage, is Danny Rand the sidekick to Luke Cage? Is Luke Cage the sidekick to Danny Rand? Or the team a sidekick to the Defenders? Where do you view these 2 guys? Because similar to Rocket and Groot, maybe you could count them. The 2-pair team as a sidekick to the major team, like the Wonder Twins. Well, I probably shouldn't have said that because we probably should do that on another episode. So yeah, Heroes for Hire. Do you view either of them as a sidekick? Any interpretations? Is anybody in this pairing or together a sidekick to anyone else? Harry Flynn says not sidekick. Say Heroes for Hire are partners, so not sidekick. Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Yeah, is Iron Fist Luke Cage's sidekick? Scottish Nerd, thank you for staying up for me very much. If you want to hang out for the verdict, please do. If not, have a good night. I do appreciate you staying up. I'm going to say yes. I guess since Blade took charge of leading the Vampire Busters, that kind of makes him more in a sidekick role. Okay, yeah, and I would agree to that. Dave, what's weird is there are more so partners / a team to me. Yes, I do agree that that is true. But as I said, can a pairing be partners for a bigger team? Because we already talked about one person being a sidekick to a team, but what about a mini team within a team? Stay up for a bit. I want that shirt. Now, no matter how sleep deprived you are, you're not going to get it. Those two things are irrelevant to each other. And I've probably spent more money on this shirt than I have on any other piece. That's not true. Suits. I spend more money on suits. But this was a bizarrely more expensive clothing purchase than I typically make. It was $65 or $60, so somewhere in that area. I don't remember. It was a while ago. This is hard. Wait to do the minutes are okay. I say they're sidekicks. Okay, so not sidekick vote for Harry Flynn. Not sidekick vote for it's sidekick vote for AJ Envoy. Okay. I'll say they're sidekicks. Okay. And Samurai Production says this is a hard one. Yeah. And as you can see, this is obviously different from everybody else. So here's where, okay, and 2 votes for not sidekick because the Scottish nurse says no. $60 is way too much. It was, and this was like over 10 years ago. So yeah. I saw it, I wanted it, and I bought it. And I knew better. I knew it wasn't worth that much, and I knew it was ridiculous. I will say it's very high quality though. It's very nice. AJ Envoy says Samurai. That's what I'm saying. Leaning more towards them being sidekicks because they fight side by side together. Oh, side by side. I see what you did there. Interesting point. Nah, EJK says they're not sidekicks. If they were sidekicks, nobody would want to hire them. They don't know the roads of being superheroes. But they are sidekicks. Wouldn't. Also, interesting point. If you guys remember the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, not the comic book, but the cartoon, their roles in the cartoon, definitely different. Okay, so 2 votes for not, 1 vote for yay. All right, let's start wrapping this up, guys. Give your votes. If not, so far the score is 2-1. Am I counting wrong? How's this all? I feel like there's way more of you in there. Am I counting wrong? So, okay, let's just go back. Samurai Production says not a sidekick. Harry Flynn says not a sidekick. Or sidekicks, should I say. AJ Envoy says, changed the vote, said they are sidekicks. Samurai Production, that's what we're missing. Yeah, Samurai Productions, get in on this. And that's $60 US. That's not as much as the pound. So, yeah. Okay, so EJK says not sidekicks. Okay, sorry, that was, wait. Okay, so not sidekicks. All right, anybody else want to get a vote? Anybody want to get a vote in? We got 3-1. Anybody else want to make a vote? Hurry, hurry, hurry. Now is the time. We're just about to wrap this up and call it. Say not sidekick because of the Netflix adaptation. Because of the Netflix adaptation, they got their own role. I put this here because I really thought some people were going to say that Danny Rand was Luke's sidekick because of the Netflix series. So it's interesting that got you off. That got you away from it when I thought the Netflix series is what might push the vote a little more because of Iron Fist's show. But okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll officially call it. I don't think the vote's changing. Not sidekicks for the heroes for hire. Neither one of them, not Danny Rand or Luke Cage, neither one of them is a sidekick to either, and apparently, and the vote goes to that they are not sidekicks to a bigger team, or even the Avengers. And I think if you're going to view them as a bigger team, I would agree that I don't view them as sidekicks, especially since Luke Cage was the leader of the New Avengers for a period of time. So being a leader of that team, I think, kind of makes it harder to qualify him as a sidekick in other realms since he was a leader. Not to say it's impossible. All right, so Heroes for Hire, Luke Cage, Iron Fist. I don't know why I feel the need to call him Danny Rand instead of Iron Fist. I think it's because I think Iron Fist is a stupid name. But Luke Cage, Danny Rand, or maybe it's because I say Luke Cage, like his real name. So Luke Cage and Iron Fist, not sidekicks. official voting. Alright guys, so that was the game, the Heroes for Hire, the last ones. I had a lot of fun with this one. I think it's an interesting topic discussing whether or not they count as sidekicks or not. Again, if you're not watching this live, set your subscriptions and your notifications so you could be here as soon as possible and join in on the conversation. And also keep wind of the Twitter machine, because I do give the announcements as I do. They are more like actual heroes with their own adventures instead of helping out a specific hero. Okay, that's what EJK says. Alright, so there you go. So yeah, set your notifications. Be subscribed to this channel. I like this game. It's interesting. Read different views. It is very interesting. I found this very interesting. So yeah, if you like this, and if you're not live, and you got your notifications on, and you got your subscription on, feel free to place your opinions down in the comments section. So yeah. Notifications, subscription, follow me on the Twitter, but also feel the need to let me know your votes down in the comments section. But hopefully we'll catch you next time, and also all you guys, let me know if you want to do another game like this, or if you want to do another Sidekick one, or if you just want to do another discussion game in general. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I really did have a good time, and enjoyed it. We'll catch you next time, and as always,